First thing I want to do is just a bit of foam rolling. Obvious place to start, but a good place, particularly for running. So we'll just work our way through a couple of basic ones. So Jace, just get this off. Let's go right leg up and turn to your right. Do you roll much?
No.
Okay, cool. So just
whenever you ask that question, assume the answer is no, right?
And so it's just really good insurance. If you're taking up running and you're really tight through here, you're tight through there, you've got a bit of a chance of getting basically a grumpy knee, a bit of patellofemoral pain, a bit of irritation there. So this is just a good way of helping you avoid that potential.
Okay.
And a more supple muscles, all other things being equal, going to run better.
Yeah. I like that.
So do a bit of that. Then you go into this one. So full length up. And back, so try and rock. You kind of want to rock and roll on it, so you're there and back. And the really important part, there you go, you found it.
That is intense.
Like the bit just there.
Yeah.
That's where you've really got to get into. The bit that you most want to avoid is the bit you might want to zero in on.
All right. Oh my goodness.
The bad news is that's the second most painful. Like the most painful one's the next one.
Awesome.
But the good news is if you do this for about a week, the pain goes away. So day one, it might be a 9 out of 10.
I'm committed to making that pain go away.
Yeah, and day 7 might be down to a 0 or even a 3. So if I've been consistent with it, I'm a 0. Like so for me at the moment, I can't feel
just showing
any
off. This guy's just showing off. It's what you do.
Blame the body weight.
Look, it's a good anti-aging thing. Like your muscles do just tighten up. Like I'm 49 and it's keeping them younger, I reckon. So the next one is, if you said to me, I'm only going to do one roll ever for running, what's the one you'd pick? It'd be this next one.
Okay.
So it's the exact same, except you're now in a 3/4 turn. So, legs nice and straight. Yeah. We haven't even started yet.
Hello.
And then we're going to roll through there. And what you notice is to make it easier, I'm just changing my body angle a little.
Oh, this is insane.
So you look more sort of into the front of the quad.
Yeah, so it's like halfway between quad and side.
How
welcome
do you do that on a regular basis?
Well, and I mean here we have athletes that find these too soft, so they use you see the orange. See the orange pipe over there?
Yeah.
It's like rock. They use that because this is too easy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I'm sweating.
Yeah, me too. I don't know if it's from the movement or the pain.
So
yeah, well.
Yeah, it's really, really good. So then you're going to move into a quad. And so quad, you want to be offset. So because we just want one quad at a time.
Yep.
So just there like that. And then
I feel like I can get around.
try and avoid using your elbows. And a bit of a drop and pop makes it easy. So if I'm here, if I drop a little, I'm going to roll down into position.
This one actually feels really good because it's not as painful as
it's all relative. And what we find is the athletes that are doing this, they if you had a tournament scenario, maybe you've played 5 games sometimes they'll have 5 games in 6 days, like really intense tournaments.
Yeah.
The athletes that are consistently rolling just don't get the same level of DOMs. They get almost no DOMs.
Yeah, right.
So the recovery elements.
It's so weird how foam rolling just went out of vogue.
Yeah.
It was like it was the only thing.
It was everything.
Forever.
And then it was nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's just something.
Yeah. That doesn't sound like the fitness industry.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it cures cancer or it gives you cancer.
Yeah.
No, somewhere in between. And then this next one, leg up at about 90 degrees. And then you're just gonna roll through. This is, for most people, not that painful. Like you just be aware of a little bit of pressure.
You can deep squat, mate.
I'm impressed you can get that angle.
Thank you.
But it's a good one just to tick off, Jen.
Yeah.
And then, so with the calf, so when you start running, the calves are most often the point that really feels it.
Yeah.
So it's good to kind of look around for your trigger points. So you're going to roll around, just find.
Just about to ask if they're super painful, like you said, do you just keep roll through it?
Just roll through it and just find the most painful bits and hit them. You got some good points.
Foam
gonna have
rolling
plenty.
versus the massage guns, which kind of went through their own vogue and they're sort
Yeah,
of dead
look,
now as well. But
I've got a massage gun, and I think it's good for certain things. Like, it can really loosen up a calf in a way that rolling just can't. And some good myos, they will use the massage gun prior to myo to just loosen tissues up.
Yep.
But I think the rolling's probably needs to be your mainstay.
Yeah.
Because you do put more sustained pressure through, and I suspect that's better. But it's not an either or.
Yeah.
If you were just getting started, I'd be like, well, a roller's going to cost you $50, if that. Like, get a roller, and then if you want more, go after
I
a
found
gun.
the benefit of
the gun is just like, you can sit on the couch and smash your calves or
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
Yeah.
that little bit less friction of
Yes.
getting down on the floor.
Yeah, and the machine's doing the work for
Yeah.
you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's super good for calves, and it gets into calves in a way you just can't with the roller, and it gets into hammies. You can't really roll the hammies in any meaningful way,
Right.
Because you just don't get any real. Like, if you do it now,
Yeah.
you can tell it's not doing much because you can't feel much.
Yeah.
It even doesn't feel painful for me.
Yeah, there's just not much going on there.
Yeah.
Whereas a gun can get right in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
And so then we go the other side of the body. So we don't want you running around in circles, so we want to get both sides equally loose. And yeah, when you get slick with this, for someone it takes longer the taller you are because you've got to go further.
Yeah.
But for someone my height, it's like 3-4 minutes.
Yep.
And I try to do just a pinch of this pinch of stretching, a tiny bit of activation before each run.
Yep.
And it just keeps things ticking over nicely.
Yep. So what would be like for lack of a better term, like most rigid athletes you would work with?
As in, like, really tight.
Yeah, so just like people who actually need to be rigid for their sport.
like any like front rowers or
We don't have a lot of rugby players, but even then, it's like what you want is like you want that tension, that stiffness on demand.
Yeah.
So you actually
Yeah.
still want the muscles to be pretty supple.
Yeah.
You just want to be able to produce
when you need to.
tension rather than live in it. So even those guys,
Yeah.
there's no one I train where I'm like, we shouldn't do this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's valuable as a powerlifter that limited every other part of my life.
yep.
Just to be good at powerlifting.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, I could have done all this and still be good.
Yeah.
Like,
How's this side?
It's just excruciating.
Yeah. So this is our first session with our athletes. I'll start doing this.
yeah.
So it's an
Interesting start point.
Yeah.
What's your drop-off rate?
Well, it's a good filter. This is
Make
I'm
sure
just
they
not
can
cut
be-
out.
Yeah.
Just not cut out. for this
maybe
place.
this isn't not for me. The other thing that's not fashionable is static stretching.
Yep.
But a pinch of static stretching, like just to the right muscles for the right dose,
Yeah.
is super helpful for running and jumping.
So if you were going to advise a coach who's working with someone, because the fear is like, if we do static stretching, they're going to get hurt. Like it increases the risk of injury.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I've always kind of been of the opinion, like, if you can't get into the position,
Yeah.
stretching helps you get into the position.
Exactly.
It's probably a safer lift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the risks are pretty overblown too. I mean, the thing you got to remember with sports science is it's not the best science. like physicists aren't looking over at sports science and go, oh, look at those guys, they're brilliant. Like, and so and like medicine, you can do really good double-blind studies.
Yeah.
You can't in sports science.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you so most of the studies of stretching, when you look at them, they've had to massively magnify the input to guarantee not getting a 0-0 draw. Worst thing you can do is do a study for 6 months and get a 0-0 draw.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, we had the subject stretch to gastrocnemius for 1 hour and then test it. It's like, stretch it for an hour. No one stretches in the real world.
It's just not practical.
A 25 to 30 second stretch of your hip flexor, which we'll go through a bit later.
Yeah.
The hip flexor and a bit of mobility for your thoracic, like that alone, that's hugely beneficial and it's certainly zero harm.
Yeah.
The only really good study that I like on stretching was put out by the AAS probably about a decade ago. Because most of the studies, as I say, they magnify the input because they're trying to get, you're trying to get published and you want to get research grants, and so there's a real results fixation, which is fair enough. it was by the AAS because they didn't care about getting published. They cared about finding out how better to make their athletes faster. So it was a different sort of KPI, different mentality. Yeah. And they had them do stretching, not stretching, sprint over 20 meters, and they found zero performance. And then so the key thing was stretching and not stretching, but then both groups did a dynamic warm up afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah. And they found zero performance decrement with the stretch group.
Yep.
Because like people were kind of saying, it's like you're putting the muscle into a coma.
Yep.
And really it's just a nap.
Yeah.
Like you do a bit of dynamic, you wake it right up again, and you're good to go. But now you've got more supple muscles.
Yeah. So that's probably a key thing for trainers. Then it's like, make sure you have that integration post.
Yeah, it's what you do between the stretching and the first.
You got to wake them up a little.
I feel like that was the foam roller issue too. It's like everyone would do their foam rolling and then just like jump into their heavy squat or whatever. So
that's not
what's the
not
integration
smart.
first?
Yeah, totally. And then the last one, and this is really important for running, is your thoracic mobility. If your thoracic's
got heaps of that.
What's that?
Because if you're a little bit locked up, arm action's more difficult, and just breathing's more difficult.
Yeah.
Some people take it too far the other way, and they're like, it's like that's actually also hard to breathe like that. Like
I haven't sat like this.
Yeah.
For
Does that feel? Is
8 years?
Yeah.
Since I've sat with my legs crossed like this.
Oh, hey. Hey, screenshot that. Oh.
That's Durham's ad right there.
That's cool. And the last one is thoracic. The key thing is making sure that you're relaxed enough that you've got your head low and your butt low, and it's just the thoracic, not the neck, nor the lower back.
Yeah.
So relax back, and you should feel a few cracks and pops.
Yeah. So it's a more dynamic roll.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just gently rolling through. A lot of people they're like a surfboard on top of it. You got to relax and exhale as you push back. You sometimes get some really nice.
Yeah, I've got some good ones before.
Some good ones. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of this is just anti-desk. Like we want to loosen up the thoracic, loosen up the hip flexors, because the desk, the chair, the couch, the car, they're all tightening them up. Yeah, cool. And then I'll often flow out of that into a bit of a cat camel, because you're already on the ground, so you may as well. And that's just... I like it because you're getting a little bit of serratus work, you're getting things moving a little, and it's just easy as.
Do you accentuate the exhale reach as well?
I don't think about it as much as I probably should. I just kind of do it. So how do you do it?
So just an exhale and reach.
So push out as you go
the
up.
flexion.
Yeah, I like that.
All
right, I'm stealing that. That's nice.
I think, especially for those, like the strength community that are always here.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yep.
Pattern's nice.
Yeah. Okay.
For shoulder issues and stuff like that.
Well, and you just feel a nice stretch as well. So it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So that's foam rolling. We'll do just like a pinch of stretching, and then we'll do some activation. Let me grab a cushion.
So much of this that I should do that I don't.
Yeah. And so quick.
Yeah.
Key thing is don't demand flexibility, request it. A lot of people dive into this like it's lifting, and they apply high intensity levels. You just want to request it, and whatever the body gives you is what it gives you.
Yeah.
And then just sneak out a millimetre a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So first one, we're going to go left foot forward, and then hands are about here. You're going to lock that back leg out long, and then just drop that back knee, and then relax the back foot. So relax the hands, and let gravity go to work. My favourite stretches are ones where you don't have to apply the effort, where you set up so gravity just does it for you.
Did you turn it up in here, or? Did you turn the gravity up in here, or?
Are you feeling it a little? And then you can bring your foot a little further forwards. You want just a slight forward shin angle. Yeah, that'll give you a tiny bit of hammy as well.
Yeah, it's a bit nicer.
You can see I'm going to hold that for 30 seconds. We do all same side of the body, like you do this one and the next one all same with the rolling, just because it takes less time.
Yeah.
Like you just want to get it done as quick as you can. So out of that, you're going to move up into a hip flexor stretch. Gun to my head, and you're only going to do one stretch ever. I reckon it'll be this one.
Yeah.
So you're here, and it's poke the butt back, tuck it under, so posterior tilt, belly button in towards your spine a little, and then contract your glute, and then just move into really, you don't need to move far at all.
No.
And you get a good quality hip flexor stretch.
This is so commonly done incorrectly too, this one. Like,
Yeah,
you see
people-
Yeah, like hip
foot up on the
bench and like.
They max it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Either.
Bit of an optional one, but I still think it's good to have. You take the roller, put it on your left side, and make yourself a nice right angle, and then you're going to just drop into it, so get a good stretch of that glute.
Oh,
Yeah. And there's a case made that stretching without rolling's probably a bit of a waste of time.
Yeah.
Because the less extensible portions of the muscle are just going to not stretch.
Correct.
So the stretchy bits are going to stretch, and the tight bits are just going to stay tight.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
think warmth
Yeah.
and
elasticity or something
yeah,
like that.
and a bit of
yeah.
uniform tissue density. Like just get
Yeah.
those tight spots a bit looser. So then you can, when you do stretch.
Actually serves a purpose.
Yeah, yeah. And then you just swap sides.
That's really good.
So the concept behind the foam rolling is like, it's basically a neural interruption, right?
Yeah,
So
it's.
you're creating a momentary increased range.
So I think there's a few different things at play. I think there's a bit of a shunting from sympathetic to parasympathetic. It's actually relaxing you a little bit and switching things off a bit. Yep. So remember doing this one. So it's here, lock it out long, and then drop, relax that back foot, relax the hands.
Oh yeah,
front
relax the
foot,
back foot. Yeah, yeah.
Front foot further forwards for both of you. It's because we want that. If you look it down at your shin, you should see it angling away from you.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so I think there's that neural side, and you're just hitting trigger points and loosening them off a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of fascia change, but I don't reckon we change fascia that much. I don't think we change as much as we think we do.
Yeah.
But it's at least you're hitting that. Yeah. Into the hip flexor, second time. Pretty common that one side of you substantially tighter than the other. So for me, everything on my left side, I feel it a lot more because my left side's my rubbish side.
This hip flexor's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Crazy down back.
Yeah, I can't even get my glute.
Yeah, same. It doesn't feel the same.
Yeah.
Like I feel like my quad is tight up the top.
Yeah.
And so what I say to people is if you've got one side tighter than the other, to try and even it out in the first 6 weeks, probably give it double the love. So you might start with that, do the other one, come back to that.
Yep.
Because symmetry is super, super important for running. You want a really balanced body.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a great study of sprinters where they measured ear and nostril diameter symmetry and found that it was incredibly highly correlated with how good they were at sprinting.
Wow.
Yeah, because their bodies were just this really nicely balanced
Yeah.
machine. Because some people, we're all on a continuum of symmetry. Some people are more symmetrical than others.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Super interesting, yeah. And you guys, can I just say, are way better. Like the average athlete, this is where they get completely stuffed up on this one. Like it's not that hard, just put it there and rest. I don't understand where this is going wrong.
I think that's part of the challenge, like of talking about that fridge to gazelle kind of concept.
Yeah.
Like Jason and I both played a lot of sport with athletic until we started building
The
mass.
hyper-specificity picked up.
Yeah, and then it was like you
Training.
get to 24, 25, you're not doing anything athletic anymore, just lifting weights. And it's like, but I should be able to touch the bottom of the basketball ring. Like why can I only make it 3 inches off the ground?
Yeah, what's happened? Yeah. Yeah, it's shocking how that elasticity deserts you.
Yeah.
Like it just goes.
Yeah, my turning point was going down a slide with my nephew, and I could see it coming, and the bottom of the slide was flat, and there was a nice hard, like rubber mat at the bottom to dig your feet in and stand up. I just landed flat on my back, and I was like, how can I not even stand up from that? This is a real problem. So,
Yeah, that's the stretching. Activation-wise,